During my opening remark, I said these are things that we are familiar with, but we just have to, reiterate it so that we can, and I could see that some of you are already nodding. So it's true, it's true, it's true. Farm size selection is important. If you don't site your farm very well, I know some of us that are doing concrete tank in our environment, and if your area is not sited where you have good drainage, you will have seen that once you drain your water, first day, second day, they will be looking at you. One day, they will just come and knock your gate. They will have your security man. Is your guy in? They are coming to say you are becoming nuisance to the environment. And by the time they persist, some of them will even write letter to the local government. So by the time they keep giving you distress, business is not becoming palatable and it will not be sustainable because you are thinking of relocating. Very important. Production plan is very essential. If you want to be sustainable, there should be a plan. Maybe by December or January. Okay, this year, what are the plans for my farm? You should be able to say if I stock now, by March 30th, 31st of March, I should be selling. By June, I should be selling. And that was why we had we've been to a farm that had this plan, pasted in a room. And this chart shows pond 1 should be ready by March. Pond, that means if you want to be sustainable, you should not just harvest now and wait for another 4 to 5 months. That's not sustainability. If you are calling it business, it must flow. So please draw a plan. Draw a plan from January. So you now follow the plan. Paste them somewhere so that when you pass, pond C should be ready by now. And also, apart from that, you should make use of the record book. How many of you have the record book that we gave to the people that were here today? That record book was designed to guide you. You can go and, laminate, photocopy, and make sure that each set of fish you are keeping the record, and if you look at that book, it's complete. If you fill it properly, you can even, once you finish a production batch, you can call it, collate all the data, you can know whether you are doing good or not. And of course, it will help you to be able to know your cost of production. It is in this our business that we don't actually know the cost of production. Once the fish are ready, you start asking, how much are they selling now? That is not business. For a sustainable business, we all did economics, elementary economics. They said profit is selling cost minus production cost. What is production cost? All labor, input, and every other thing. So can we actually say this is the cost of producing this batch? Don't blame it on feed. We know feed is constant K. But what if you have the cheapest feed and during the time you are doing something happened on the farm? Maybe one of the pond collapsed, or maybe there was any mistake. That's additional cost. You should be able to note that. So the production cost will never be the same. So if you are doing batch A, you should be able to say, okay, we know what cost is now. No any production cost will be less than 800 now with the reality that we have now. So if you have that production cost plus other costs, you know that maybe it is 800 or 850 or 900. You should not be asking your neighbor, how much are you selling? And he said that it's 850. You not be in that market. If you want to be sustainable, you already know that, this one now, my cost is high, 800. What is my margin? Because you must have your own margin as a businessman that, okay, I don't want to go beyond margin. There are some religion, they will say, don't go beyond this margin. What is my margin? Because out of that margin, you should be able to pay salary, pay tax, pay every other thing. So what is my margin? Okay, if I had my margin, that means my profitability limit should be 900. So don't go and be asking somebody selling at 850. That is already lost. So just note that. Then once you note that, we'll come to sales and marketing, then we'll now think of what we need to do, because your cost will never be the same. Secondly, they've told us about the seedling. It's important. Systemized farm practice, they've told us about that. These are the things we are doing, but we should be able to use the record from the exercise book. Aqua has made a guide based on practicality of what we've done. Mr. Dada have told us there are some links. Once you click, you see testimony from farmers like you, what they've done. But we've guided you that once you stock your standard fingerlings gotten from a standard hatchery, You are going to feed them Aqua 2 2 bags in 2 weeks. Then once you note it on that record, after the 2 weeks, you have the initial weight. During the standard practice, once you are getting your fingerlings, when you got them, and don't just pour them into the pond, put them into a scale like this, and you weigh them. Once you weigh them, you now count how many, you divide by the weight. You know their starting weight, you put it on that record book. If my brother is supplying you fingerlings and said it is 5 grams, you will know now whether it is actually 5 grams or not. So you write that one down. So once you write that one down on the record book, you can now be able to, after feeding Aqua 2 weeks, you do what we call grading again. You confirm from the table whether they are doing well or not. There is a weight. So you need to monitor them. After that 2 weeks, you do another 2 weeks like that. Aqua tells you the weight they will attain. You know whether they are doing well or not. And it avails you the opportunity to also see their growth pattern and the number. Because if you stock 1,000 from day one, you will not see 1,000 by that 2 weeks. So don't be feeding the quantity of feed you are feeding 1,000. You are wasting money. You should now know the population have reduced. So that is sustainability, because money is leaking away. This is just summary of some of the things because of time. Then coming to the sales and marketing. Let us be sincere. We mentioned it in 2018. The level of investment that some of us here seated we are having on our farm is worthy enough, and it's almost the same equivalent with some of these plastic bottled water factory. The level of investment. You wouldn't know. But if you go there, that is the same thing. But what did you see when you go to that bottled water factory? You see that they have the production plant, they have accountant and stuff like that. That is not where I'm going. But you see all of them have what? A delivery van. And the boys that are into delivery and marketing. So once they produce, those guys will load it and start delivering, going to ABCD to deliver and get the money. The same level of investment. So what stops us from making sure that the production manager will be the one to produce? And Aqua have told you that in 120 days, they are ready. 1 kilo, 1.2. But if your own market is 1.8 and 2, that will be 6 months. Let the production man produce. And you can even put them on target, like my brother said. Let's motivate them. See, Aqua said, this fish, 5 grams we are stocking today. In 120 days, you'll be ready. If we weigh them and they attain this weight, you and your team, you will get bonus. They will make sure they monitor that and nothing will happen, because you have promised them bonus. And mind you, that bonus is from the profit you've calculated. Once that is ready, they should hand over that pond according to the record you made. They should hand over that pond to the selling department, the marketing department. Those marketing department is not additional cost to you. They are going to pay for themselves because you already mark up your margin. We have 5,000 fish ready. The marketing department will be the one that will calculate how many number of bags of feed we are going to use for this period of time to finish selling them. And they will have gone around to some of these eateries or these fishmongers to seal a deal with them. Our fish will be ready next month. What size do you buy? How many will you buy? What price do you buy? They negotiate. Remember, I said that your cost is now 900. So don't go to people that will price 800. They will rather go to most of these eateries inside the mall there and go and market to them. They will go to all this bar. You can sell to them on credit if they give you premium price. Because if you watch very well, most of these fishmongers, once they come to your farm, that's what they do. Right there, as you are buying, they are already grading, giving to their apprentice. You take to that pepper soup joint. You take to that eatery. We'll come and collect money in the evening. So please, marketing plan. If you want to be sustainable, don't sell, because your production cost will never be the same. And the situation we have now, we know that cost is going up. It's not only feed. It's not only Aqua feed. We are only telling you that Aqua feed is a bit expensive, but it gives you value for your money. Your harvest will be ready on time. You can do 3 cycles. But please, let us change our mindset now. If we are really doing this as a business or not a savings, because some of us, we have the pond. Once we go to the office, Any little money, spare money we have, we put it there. Harvest time, we harvest and use it to pay school fee or to pursue a target. That is not sustainable business. Please let us define how to make it sustainable, and that is where we can call ourselves a real aquaculture or fish farmer. They've talked about training is essential. External factor, which is pilfering. This one, I will quickly steal part of this, because no matter how good your harvest is, if you have the best of production, like Aqua said, within the day you are selling, you can lose all your profit. Most of us have experienced this, and I know that we have people to give testimony here. Many sharp practices normally happen here. This is where most of us, we are losing all our money. Because if you are not careful the day you are harvesting, people that will call to come and buy, they will rob us. Let me give you a picture. We are all familiar. This is the normal practice. Please, when you want to harvest and sell your fish, do what they call test cropping, like they said. If pond 3 is ready, do a test cropping with your team. If your team are not enough, employ people from outside for that day to put the fish into sizes. 1.2 to 1.5 in 1 pond, determine the price. 1 kilo to 800, determine the price. Then you can do your calculations. So once you call them, they will see your fish, they will agree on the price, then you start selling to them. Don't give them, what they will do is that out of the one that you already attach at a particular price, if you are not careful, they will now be sorting it again. And again, apart from that, look at this picture. You could see now that they've covered the bow. That one they covered means it has been weighed and you've attested to it. If you are not careful, they will pour some of those ones that you have not weighed, they will pour it on that one and tie it, and you will think they are the one that you have weighed. Am I lying? How many of us have experienced this? And you can imagine, this one that you have not weighed has more fish than the one that the one they normally weigh is 30 kilo. This one, you just bail them out, and they might be even weighing 40 or 50 kilo. Imagine they now spread it on top and tie. The little margin is draining away. So please, look at this farm. What can you see here? That policeman, that security man is there. His own job is leave the gate, come and stay here. Anyone that custom officer have not cleared, don't let it pass. So let us use our own way to make, because this thing might look funny, but this is where I have a true life experience of what happened. Our marketing manager is a witness of what happened in one of the farms. Seated, we've calculated, we did test cropping, and back then, that was 2019 or 18, we agreed to sell the fish at 700. Because with that 700, we are going to make 42% profit on that batch. Luckily for us, when we got to the market, we saw people that wanted to buy from Mushi at 420. So that means the profit will go up. We sold the first one. The next time they're supposed to come, the normal tactics now. These fish are good, leave it for us, we are coming. They will not come. Second day, the man called them, they will not come. Delay tactics. And by the time they will show up, we, Aqua, could not make, many days we have some other things to do. So it was only the man and the brother. And they now came with their own team. That is where they started. The one that has already been agreed, sorted, they saw, we agreed. They were now sorting the biggest of the biggest. So the biggest now is now being bought at 740. The biggest that are supposed to be 740 are not being pushed to the 650 category. Money is being drained. So please let us be careful here. And we even got a testimony. This is external. With all due respect to our fish mongers, I'm not throwing aspersion on you, but we have the internal too. My people say the insect that is eating the vegetable is inside the vegetable. We got a testimony in Asaba. Very creative idea from, when you are doing Anki packing, you are very creative. You know what happened there? It's an 18 pond. So this manager, there is an overflow. There is usually an overflow because of erosion on which, if rain falls or water flows, there will be overflow on the on the 18 pond. Overflow. The manager now channel the overflow to another pond. So he will deliberately pump water so the fish will migrate and swim to that other pond. So the oga will not know. So you need to do what our consultant said. Don't be an absential farmer. Once in a while, go there and move around to see what is happening. So without much ado, the final stage is the supposed to play this video. We have let's quickly talk about briefly investment opportunity, because what we've been discussing is the monopoly way we have been selling our fish. But now we want us to see some options that we have. The value chain, we've talked about sustainability, ability for you to be able to stay on your own. Don't start borrowing to feed the fish. The business will be able to pay for itself. Even if you access loan, you should be able to pay the loan and also remain in business. You should be able to transcend the business from your generation to your children. Your children should be able to see that it is this fish money that daddy have used to send me to abroad to school. So it will know that, okay, this is a generational business. Not that, no, I don't want to go to that farm. Daddy is suffering, they could not pay my school fee. So value chain, quickly, these are set of actors and activities that brings a basic agricultural product from production in the field to the final consumer's consumption. So looking at the value chain, but we cannot do the value chain without talking about the industrial framework. What are the things that will make the value chain achievable? Number one is governance and standard. So we need, do we have any government parastatal or staff here? Can you identify, do you have any of our government officers here in attendance? But if we are not here, we have some of them as friends. We need them. We need regulations that will give a conducive atmosphere. We have some water bodies that we can access to do cage farming. Are you making it easier for us to access license to operate there? Are you making a policy to say that, okay, there is ban on importation of catfish and tilapia, but how come some are still coming in? So we need to protect the farmers too. Are we creating a fish market for the farmers? Very essential. Then of course, the second one is agri financing. Agri financing, we know that finance is everything. There's no business you want to scale up that you will not need loan. But the bankers, are they giving us loans that are payable? But if we are treating our fish farming as a business, of course, I can tell you, we've made experiments with some of our farmers. If you are using Aqua feed, or I don't know of other feed, you are going to have 3 production cycles. And that means at the end of the year, you are going to have 84% margin. 84. Because you are going to do 3 cycles. And you are going to turn the same working capital. You are going to use it 3 times. And you are going to have, about 24 to 26 margin in each cycle. Then, of course, even if you access bank loan at 23, you will be able to pay. But only when you pay critical attention to all the leakages that we mentioned before. So you can actually pay. But for us to be sustainable, they too should be able to give us loan at a single digit, not double digit. Then also cluster financing like we have. Then of course, research and development. Do we have our academians here, the lecturers, the professors? Nobody from the academic sector here. We also need to make sure that we build the foundation in terms of teaching our students what is realistic, what is commercially viable. Most of us during our practical years, we are doing substitution of Bambara over to replace soya meal in kinikon diet. When we are having problem of soya meal being up, all these Bambara meal, are they commercially available? No. So let us give our students research that can be a plugin when we have problems. And let us give them training that it is agripreneur. Let them be able to be, by the time they are leaving the school, they should be a change agent. Not the one that will now go to one farm or two farms to now start learning after spending 5 years in the university. So we need them. And of course, in terms of genetics too, they can help us to develop good strain that will give us good foundation for the fingerlings and every other thing. So we need, then lastly, the technology and innovation, the fintech. We need the fintech to be able to help us. There are many software that we can use now. Aqua is cooking some, and we'll be giving to some of our premium customers for you to be able to monitor on your phone activities going on your farm. So all these things are the things that surround being sustainable. So what are the value chain? We've been able to identify 6 for now. There might be many more. Number 1 is the normal one that we are used to. We have some of us that are producing the fingerlings. That is another sector. So if you are not professional enough, leave the fingerlings to people that are professional. Let that one be their own headache. Don't combine the two. Sincerely, some of us want to combine the two. It is not that easy. Let them be the one having the headache to produce quality seed for you. Let us be the one rearing them to maturity. Then of course, number 1 is transportation. Do you know that there is viable business in transporting all this produce? All of us should not be the one producing. If you are the transporter, you can add value to Mr. John, because Mr. John farm is located where the mongers or the buyers cannot come. But if you are within the cluster and you said my own business is that all fish that is coming from here, I want to be your official transporter, that is a business for you, and they will pay you good money. So we can go into transport, and we can also go into wet and cold storage. We can buy this big, build a storage plant, and we can be storing for the cluster and say, okay, I've set up this cold room. Once your fish are ready and you don't want to incur any other extra cost, come and put them like we are embalming our dead ones. Then they pay you per day of embalming. Sorry for using that word, for storing, So that's the business. I can have my cold room built within the cluster. Bring it, I'll store it up for you. When your market is ready, you take. You might be surprised that, can you sell frozen catfish? You will see the picture I'm going to show you afterward. Very good and very nice. Which is smoking the fish. That is the popular one. Once you smoke the fish, you are preserving the storage life, and you will not be in a hurry to say, I want to start feeding again. And you can sell at premium price because you can deliver, but you must have the sales team, like we said. You can encourage our young ladies and young guys from, graduate from secondary school or university. Our mothers, the way you sell. You give them 12 at the price of 10. The 2 on top is their own margin. They will sell more and come back to you. You are creating employment for them, and they are selling your product. They will look for places to sell it. And before you know it, business is thriving. Then of course, another thing is that it's because of time, Mr. Sedge should have guided us there. Do you know that the entire fish, there are many derivatives you can get from there? Dr. Robert have shown us the pituitary gland. You can remove it from the male and store it up, and you can sell to breeders. Instead of using synthetic hormone to induce the female, you can be selling that. Sedge farm, they will cut off the head and pack all the head. There are some of us that like the head. They will put it in polythene bag, frozen it, and people are buying it. They are even lining up to the sedge. When next are we going to have the fish head? That's a business for you. During the smoking of the fish, if you have a nice smoking kiln, the oil, there is a place where you collect the oil. You can sieve the oil out, and that is another input, raw material for people that are milling feed or milling broilers. Money. Then of course the gut. There are some people buying the gut. They will cook it and use it to mill feed for their fish, to do self-pelleting, or for dogs and some other thing. Value addition. Just only one fish you are still talking about, and they are now going to sell the flesh itself. So please, And we have people that are doing fish cake, fish biscuit, fish cracker. So please let us, some of us are more creative than this. Let us look inward and see what we can do to also, by the time you do all this, you see that that fish that woman is pricing 800, you can actually get up to 2,000 or 3,000 out of that process. Then number 4 is the retail market and cold room that we mentioned. Our dear mothers, get all this nice transparent freezer and put it in the market side. Let the fish be well degutted and clean, very sizable. You see people that will be buying it. This is a true life testimony from an Indian farm, actually way back. They decided to go to most of these grocery stores and said, okay, we want to put this freezer in your supermarket and we want to be selling frozen catfish. They said, no, people don't buy frozen. It's live they buy. Okay, let us try. We are going to put just 10 kg there in the middle, the way the mall is. And if they didn't buy it in 1 week, we'll come and pack it. The man said they've not even, got out of the place before they called that you need to bring another supply. You know how it is. People in cosmopolitan area, they don't want to touch the blood or this, and they saw it very nice and very neat. So our dear mothers, we can set up shop in nicely, but let the fish be the big one that are sizable, very clean. You'll see some pictures later. So of course, the 5th one is in restaurant. You can go to all these big restaurants and hotels and tell them that we know that you serve fish, pepper soup, catfish in this hotel. But are you sure that catfish you are buying is ideal for the kind of guest you are having in this hotel? I say, what do you mean? Yes, because you are not buying the one that is fed at Aqua feed. Yes, now. Because Aqua feed is certified with European standard. So that means, because Folution mentioned it, our feed is designed for the quality of health and human life. We are not just using any junks. You can say, a big hotel like you should be buying from my farm. Why your farm? Because I use Aqua feed. You can seal a deal with them. All these big hotels, eateries, then you can be selling to them at premium price. This is what those mongers do. When they pick from you, they grade it and sell. So lastly, we have the aquaponics. Let me quickly show pictures. This is a picture of the cold room in the freezer. Your cluster, you can start delivering. You can do cluster delivery. You buy the bus, small bus in your cluster, maybe the cooperative money, then you employ somebody to be taking it to all these places to deliver for you. And this transport will pay for itself. You can see the cold store that I mentioned. An example is this. Imagine setting up, freezers like this and people walking. They will buy your fish, catfish, tilapia. Then this young man, you are familiar with this standard. This man, his own business is bring your fish, I smoke for you per kilo, you take it, go and use your label. And he's making, the young man is making money. It's not necessarily that he should be a fish farmer, but he's adding value to the farmers. Imagine the relief from farmers when you know that my fish is ready and I don't want to sell. I take it here, he smoke for me per kilo, I use my own label to package it, then I sell it at my convenient time. Then the derivatives that I mentioned. This is Mr. Sedge's shop. Mr. Sedge is the one producing. The madam said no. She wants to add value, and madam is the one managing Monterey Foods. You could see she has the ice flakes. This is the oil. See how creative he is. He's now packaging the oil into sachet. And of course, he's making the fillet too. This other one, he cut it into chunks and smoke it. Value addition. You could see he's selling the oil. Only God knows how much Mr. Sedge is making from just 1 kilo now. Then of course the fillet. You can be creative and do the fillet where people can just use it for fish burger and the stuff like that. We have fish sausage. Then these are the eateries in Lagos. Ocean Basket, they are into seafood. You can supply to them. Mega Chicken, you can supply to them. In Benin, we have Kilimanjaro. Here to Kilimanjaro and some of those nice stores in the mall. Yesterday we ate there. None of them is selling catfish to us. You should go and meet them. People are eating catfish. Supply them. Then of course, Domino Pizza is also doing catfish pizza now. You can walk up to some of these things, and we have some of our young boys that are even doing shawarma by the road now. They can just give them a recipe, and they will replicate and do catfish shawarma by the roadside. Value addition. Now this is the transport business again. You can decide to have a truck and collect 100,000 fingerlings from my oga there, and you transport from here to north or to other parts. Your own business is that they will call you that now I want to transport, but this delivery must be standard. And of course, look at this pickup with glass tank at the back. Imagine you have this kind of truck and you have this tank and you put all this 1.5 kg fish and you go to the popular market there. You know, people will be looking, what is this? You now write point and kill. How much do you think they will tell you? Oga, how much is this one? It's 5,000. Oh, make I pay 3. Oh yeah, pay. So, lastly, the aquaponics. The aquaponics, all the wastewater from your farm, if you meet the expert, they will help you channel it to a vegetable farm where you can be making money on vegetables. You know, vegetables will be ready within 6 to 8 weeks. That means every month you can be getting income, while in 120 days you can harvest your fish. This is what we brought to you, and we believe that you can be able to, you know, change from just selling your fish to the fishmongers and be more creative, because this is the only way. You can even say, even if the price of feed is going up, I will still make my profit, because that is the essence of being sustainable. Pardon us, we rush, but this is what we brought to you, and I hope that we've been able to, you know, arouse your thinking and give you more creative way to be sustainable.